Alright, today is a big day because today starts our 700-mile trip from Pocahontas State Park in Virginia all the way up to Fryeburg, Maine. 700 miles, I think 5 states, 3 different campgrounds, and we're doing it with this little dude in tow. So, it's sure to be an adventure.
Today we're headed to Lums State Park in Delaware, and I'm particular about using RV Life, but sometimes Google Maps gives you some better options. You know, when you're towing something that's big, it's very, very, very important to look at your path before you embark on your journey there, because the last thing you want is to be stuck around some tiny roundabout or some, small back road. So always do your planning in advance. Look at your routes, choose appropriately.
Step 1, leaving Pocahontas State Campground, is for us to dump our tanks.
The downside about only one dump station is that occasionally on days, especially on days when everybody's leaving at the same time, you've got a little bit of a queue. So how long this queue takes really depends on how quickly everyone dumps, because we've all been there. You have newer campers and you can be there for a while, and it's just part of the journey. So we're gonna sit in the queue, we're eventually gonna dump, and then we'll continue on with our journey.
That means that somebody has to sit still.
The first time you pull up to a dump station like this and there's a queue, you're going to feel the pressure. The same way you did when you backed up for the first time. You feel like everybody's watching you. I know this from personal experience because I felt that same pressure when I pulled up to a dump station that had a queue like this. But no matter what happens, take your time, because while we have not made a mistake and rushed things when we were trying to get through a dump station quickly, we unfortunately have seen a situation where somebody did rush and sprayed stuff all over themselves in their camper. Not an ideal scenario. So rule of thumb here is really just take your time, stay calm, don't worry about everybody else. We've all been there before, and do it the right way. Patient's going into surgery. One of the advantages of being organized is got everything in my bin here and I'm good to go. Unleash the Kraken! 99% of the time, you're only gonna find one hose available, and that is only for your black tank flush. Don't use this for your freshwater tank. Don't. I've seen it done plenty of times. Don't let that be you. Occasionally, in the rare occasion, there are 2 hoses. One will be for the black tank and one will say for fresh water, but it will be appropriately labeled, and that is in the rare instance that you actually do see 2 hoses. But for the most part, you're gonna see one hose just like this, and it's not for your fresh tank. So for all you new campers out there, just keep in mind, flush only. After all that planning, I missed one exit and it derailed everything. Literally tacked on a solid 30 minutes to potentially even an hour. I feel like I was driving straight through Manhattan. Honestly, there's so much traffic in DC. Not ideal. Narrow lanes, lots of people zigzagging. 0 out of 5 flamingos for that drive. I'd recommend not missing an exit.
We got off in Annapolis because, well, it was the first time since we've been kind of out of a big city, and it's been way over 2 hours. Little man has cried himself to the point where he's half asleep, and now we've hit a U-turn. Scratch that. Not a U-turn, a roundabout, which is basically Daniel's nightmare.
take his lane. Both lanes, tight roads. I got noise in this lane. Okay. Literally taking both lanes. There was somebody in there. They let me through. Okay. This is, oh, I missed that cone. That's a win.
Now turn left.
Oh my goodness. Oh God. Don't hit those. Don't hit those. Well, no damage so far.
Well, we just decided to park in like 5 parallel parking spots somewhere in downtown Annapolis. But the baby is fed, so that's a win. We can get back to the interstate now with no more ado. We'll only be 2 hours from home for the night. The really good news is we made it back to the highway unscathed. Just an hour and 37 minutes until we get to our stop for the night. And of course, it looks like it's going to rain. We're 28 minutes from our campground for this evening, and it has officially started raining pretty hard. And the lightning is crazy. Anytime you see cars pulled off like that, or especially semi-trucks, it's important that you check the weather. You want to make sure that there's not something that you don't know that they know. Luckily, it looks like we're just going through a severe weather storm. There aren't any tornado or any kind of crazy weather warnings. So we are now 24 minutes from home and driving slow. But this day has been eventful. We are really ready for it to be over.
I was kind of hoping it would be raining when we got to the campsite, because setting up camp in the rain, highly recommend it.
On a positive note, I figured out something genius. I can remove the headrest and no longer be staring at it. It's taken me way too many miles to figure that out. Woke up just in time for us to get to our campsite. Hi, baby Dash. We made it.
Okay. So normally, since we're just here for one night, I could care less if it was level or not. This one's off by 3 1/4 inches, and that's 3 to 3 1/4. By the way, Level Mate Pro, if you don't have it, get it, but that's a little too much of a tilt for me, so I'm gonna take out my Anderson levelers and get this thing leveled. Laura and I were just sitting in bed, and we heard a huge crash on the roof. And we looked out the window, and it looks like something hit our Airstream. I'm hoping that there's no damage because, well, for lots of reasons. We all know why. If I go out there and the Airstream is hugely damaged, I'm gonna feel sick to my stomach. So I'm hoping that that is not the case, because the aluminum shell on these is somewhat fragile.
And you can't get them fixed right now.
You can't get them fixed right now, and that would derail our travels quite a bit. So let's see what's going on. All right.
That's fun. You don't step on that.
All right.
less than ideal. But got the door locked, so I'm not gonna get locked out because the baby is in there while we figure this out. Okay, so that tree looks super healthy. Usually that's a good sign. How heavy?
Heavy enough to do some damage.
Well, initially, it doesn't look like there's anything too crazy. Looks like it definitely hit right there some.
Oh shit.
Definitely hit there, but doesn't look like it did any initial damage.
Rub's there, but washes off.
I mean, it sounded like it hit the top, probably just fell down the side.
Yeah, so the next concern is that it break anything up there.
Have you ever even gotten up on top of the Airstream before?
A few times, but not in a while. You can see some leaves up there. I don't know if that's from the branch, but so it must have hit near the rear.
I don't have the rear AC on right now either. I need to turn that on and check and make sure it's working.
That's a doozy. Let's give you some perspective.
Oh my gosh.
This is what hit us.
Really scared the bejesus out of us, and we were actually on a work meeting, and I think we've officially become like their craziest client. But let's do this ladder thing.
Just wrapping a towel around the step that could potentially make contact with Airstream, just to protect it. I don't see any damage. I'm wondering where exactly it hit. Definitely need to clean these solar panels, but checking the skylight, make sure it didn't crack or anything. We might have gotten lucky here.
Well, don't get too excited yet. We need to check the awning and the AC unit for sure.
You can definitely tell that it hit the rear AC unit. I don't necessarily know what part of that branch hit it,
Usually when you're parking your RV, you want to make sure that you're looking at trees to see if they're dead, because that's when you usually expect to see things fall, but these look super healthy, so it's kind of bizarre that such a huge dead branch fell and hit the Airstream. Just look at these, they're beautiful. And it's on a completely sunny day, which is, again, not expectation, but reality.
Luckily, it wasn't that tree.
That would have probably
Killed us. You know how much that must weigh? Ooh. We'll give the rear AC unit a test because it definitely hit it. Maybe not as hard as initially thought. There's mud certain spots along the side, so it clearly like hit the side a little bit, but hit the step. Not a big deal. That was easy to kind of readjust. Fingers crossed. Super thankful the awning wasn't out because that would have, no question, absolutely destroyed the awning. Zero question in my mind. That thing is so heavy that it would have just crushed this thing. It could be that a majority of it landed and hit the ground, impacted that first, and then fell towards the... Actually, we heard it hit, so that's not true. Yeah. It's a little damp, so... Good to go. Now normally I would leave it out while I go test the AC unit, but knowing something else could potentially fall, I'm gonna put the awning back in. Okay, it wasn't running because the internal temperature has been spot on, so I just dropped it to super cold so that it would kick on. I just heard it kick on. I don't hear anything wrong. It seems to be running normal. No issues. I'll go take a listen outside and that should be, I mean, fingers crossed, we should be good to go. What do you think, little man? You gonna give it the once over? Does it look good to you? Yeah? Think we dodged a bullet? There you have it, folks. Did we dodge a bullet? Yeah! There you go! So according to my quick inspection and Dash's approval, I think we're good to go. I think we dodged a bullet, or in this case, a tree trunk.
This is a dramatic start to day number 2 of our 700-mile travel day. Want to find out about our next calamity on our trip to Maine? Make sure you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. And of course, don't forget to hit that bell. That way you'll be notified when our next video drops. Between now and then, friend, make sure you wander local this week. As you know, it's good for the soul.